So I'm from Minnesota, born and raised. Kind of moved around a lot as a kid, primarily in the Twin Cities suburbs. Came up to the North Shore since I was 2, so this has always been a place I was a fan of. But I never lived up here until we moved up here.
I'm from Ohio, great state of Ohio. I lived there until I was 22, graduated college. I went to Bowling Green State University, which is an amazing school. I love it. Then I moved to Chicago. And from Chicago, I met this lady and fell in love. And came here to vacation a couple times up to the North Shore. And one random trip back to Chicago, we decided that we wanted to live there. And we moved here. And now we're here.
What was the driving force that really persuaded you to move here and stay long term?
I think the idea was that, so we'd always, one of the things we had in common back in Chicago was that we both loved to camp. Loved to go camping in Indiana and like all the parks in Illinois, and came up here camping, and it was like, let's move up there, we'll camp all the time, it'll be great. And we've camped together 0 times in 5 years.
Nice.
1 time. Twice. 1 time?
In 5 years?
Yeah.
For sure I can think of 2.
Okay, so twice, but together.
But I've been...
You've been out quite numerous times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't make it a priority. I should, but I don't.
Our living situation up here, as you know, and having a child has created an environment where we're never really in the same place at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that dream of spending all our time outdoors and hiking and camping and getting into fishing and whatnot, it's a reality in a sense, but really not that we can do it together, because one of us is usually with the baby and one of us is usually working.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've done a decent amount of camping, and we've done a lot of hiking, which has been lovely. But
yeah, the idea was to come up here and work on the weekdays and have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to be in the woods.
The dream of living up here was very different than the reality, honestly. Yeah.
It was like, let's go canoeing every weekend. It'll be great.
We've been
twice,
few
3 times.
yeah. Once a year is a good average, no?
Yeah. Is that mostly due to just the expense of raising a child?
Just busy, just life.
That's a new part to our existence up here, considering we've been here. This is our 5th winter.
Right.
She just turned 2. So the expense part, not really, as far as outdoor adventuring. But in a touristy area, you have to work when it's busy.
Right.
And then typically up here, especially lately, it's been getting more busy in the shoulder seasons. The only kind of slowish times are April and November, and those have even been ramping up. So it's kind of been a moving target since we moved up here, honestly.
Mm-hmm. What has kept you here over you said it's been about almost 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What has kept us here makes it sound like we planned on leaving. Because our intention was to come here and put down roots and start a family. And that's what we've done. Mm-hmm. Although the first year
It was a struggle.
shook our plans a little bit and made us question
There you go.
the leap of faith.
So what kept you here?
Oh, touche.
Just bullheadedness, I think. No,
Being from Minnesota, I always wanted to raise my kids here, and I always wanted a family. So I was selfishly hoping to, so we were talking about moving out west because we wanted to find someplace very outdoorsy, hiking, camping were a priority. And then my dad was looking at properties and ended up buying a place up off the Gunflint Trail. And that was when we decided to visit the second time. And he really took a liking to the area, and we spent that 10-hour drive back to Chicago saying, what if we moved to northern Minnesota instead of moving out west? And when thinking about starting a family, it seemed more logical to move closer to your support system than moving way out west where we would have to start fresh and not know anyone. Mm-hmm. And that said, hindsight's always 20/20. Having a kid and having family close by has been crucial. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it would have been like if we moved out west, of course. I don't have a crystal ball, but the point was for me anyway to be closer to family and still have that outdoorsy aspect.
Right.
What we didn't consider is that Carl hates the cold, hates bugs, and doesn't like the water really. So Minnesota might not have been the best option for Carl, but he was on board, and I was grateful. So depending on who you ask, I suppose you'd have different reasons for us staying. His may be more that he knew I'd want to be here.
I love you. So yeah, I think that the first couple years were tough, but the more I've been here, the more I've fallen in love with it. It's, you know, you get used to the cold and the snow gets prettier. And
The bugs aren't here all the time.
the bugs are awful still. They're horrible. I hate the bugs.
Yeah.
Oh, black flies make my face swell. It's
He's really allergic, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a big
like.
His ears look
Have you
like...
ever seen the movie Hitch with Will Smith?
Yeah.
So you know how he eats shellfish and his face kind of goes.
He looks like that.
2.5 years ago, I was mowing and I came back inside. And the next day, I got to work, and my boss was like, "Dude, you okay?" I'm like, "No, why?" I look in the mirror in my truck, and my ears are like
His ears are
here.
so gross.
And my eyelids are swollen up. And he's like, "Just you may want to go home and take some Benadryl." I'm like, "No, I'm fine." Yeah, turns out it was a bad reaction. So. Cleared up in 3 days or so, but, you know. Yeah, but we have, you know, we've got an amazing view of the big lake and cool house and good friends and great family, great kid. So I think that, like, you know, even if in 10 years or 5 years we, you know, Ella gets a little older, if we have another kid, whatever, like a little older, like this is still going to be home base because this is pretty awesome up here. We're 2 hours from crazy people, and if bombs start being dropped, then we're fine, I think, up here.
That's a good way to look at it. That's been talked about.
Yeah.
Do you plan on staying here long term?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Do you?
I have no plans to go anywhere.
Yeah. Good. I think we're both really good swimmers, if it makes any sense. Like, we're both really adaptive into any circumstance or situation that you have. I don't know. If we decided to move to, like, you know, Little Rock, Arkansas for some stupid reason, like, I'm sure we'd be like okay there eventually. It would be. I'd have to get really racist a little, you know. But, like, you know.
Please don't put that in your...
Go ahead, it's fine. This is me, man. That's just a ramble. I just think that we're both...
You adapt very well.
Yeah, I think we're both very social people, and that's why I love her, and that's why sometimes she hates me. Is that, you know, we're social beings, and, like, it is what it is. Like, we're here because we want to be here, but, like, even when you don't want to be here, you're still here, and we're gonna make it here.
Right.
If that makes any sense at all. Right? Did it make any sense at all to you?
It made sense.
Okay. What do you think?
I
Are
want
we
to
gonna stay here long term? You like it here? Are you okay with the cold and the weather? It's kind of cold up
I
here.
grew up here.
You sure?
Cold and weather is not... It was cold and... We had bad weather and cold in Chicago, so I don't really understand why it was so shocking.
Because you could stumble to the next street.
I think more or less the... yeah, the seclusion was more an issue
Yeah. Oh,
for
yeah.
Carl, who's... I am very social as well, but
Right.
he had a more difficult time adapting
Yeah.
to the...
How long were you in Chicago?
I was there 12 years.
I was there, let's see,
Yeah.
about 9 years.
That's a big adjustment.
Yeah, and I feed a lot off of energy of people.
He loves to go to Duluth just to recharge.
Sure.
Like,
He'll just run errands and drive around in the city. He loves driving around. I'm like, this is miserable. I just want to get back where there's like... I acclimated definitely more quickly, I'd say. Yeah.
big cities are amazing. Just the fact that, like, you can put 5 million people in one place and they can all exist and for the most part not kill each other.
Right.
Like on like this much space.
Right.
Whereas here it's so spread out and you know, you might see your neighbor once a week, you know.
Mm-hmm.
and everyone still doesn't. I don't know. Small city, small town. That's what I grew up into, and it's kind of why I left. But this is a much smaller town than what I grew up in. But it's home. It is. Once you let me put the 40 by 40 garage with a wood shop out there, we're good to go.
He's a dreamer. His plans are extravagant.
Timber frame houses and cabins.
We're gonna blow out the ceiling. We're gonna add on that side.
How do you feel, given it's such a small town vibe here, right? You see a lot of the same people a lot, right? Every a few times a week or more.
Only the same people all the time.
Right. So how do you feel about that? Coming from, big city where you might not see your neighbor.
The anonymity of living in a big city, which I didn't really understand or appreciate when I was there, was really nice.
Right.
Because in a small town, when you go into town, Grand Marais being town, you're always gonna see everybody. Everyone knows you. They know where you work. They know who your daughter is. They know who your husband is. They know where you live.
You've got to have a nice filter.
So if I'm going into my PJs, it's like, damn, I'm gonna see 500 people I know. Whereas in Chicago, you could walk around like a crazy person screaming and saying Trump is an a-hole on the corner, and no, people just ignore you.
Yeah.
That's totally fake news.
Yeah. We're full of fake news. But so I kind of miss the anonymity of the big city, but I like, especially now as a parent, I like knowing that as she grows here, people have an eye out and kind of know where she should be, and if she's meeting with someone that she shouldn't be. That's kind of a nice benefit of a small town.
That's true, but I think that the community we were in Chicago, the north side, was a very small, tight-knit community, and we definitely knew everyone on the block for the most part. Granted, our block was, from the mile we were on was 22,000 people basically, which is 5 times this county population. It's just scary to think about. Yeah, but you're right. The small community here is great for that.